Greetings and welcome, everyone. It's All You Can Geek Gamecast, episode 650. I'm one of your hosts, Jim Gast, joined by Corey Feinson
Ahoy!
and Tony Corkin.
Yeah.
Welcome, guys. Welcome, listeners and viewers, to the Gamecast. We are live streaming on Twitch on Tuesday night, so please join us live. We are on YouTube the following days. Always join. You can always subscribe to both channels and get notified when we post our episodes. All of our old content, you can go back on YouTube and see. Twitch never keeps it on here, so yay. But thanks for joining us, everybody. So yeah, guys, what have we been playing? This is the
Oh,
Game
no Mike,
Pass.
by the way. He's at
Oh,
a
no
Yankee
Mike tonight.
game,
Yeah,
so.
see Yankee game. We mentioned on the other
Obviously,
one.
if you're watching, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, what have you guys been playing? It's been Tears of the Kingdom a lot for me. I'm on the second temple. I've done a lot of shrines. I've been building my stamina meter up, which is amazing. That the second temple for me, I'm in the water. Yeah, so I went to that one next, and that was funny how I traversed that because it was like I just avoided everything. I just climbed the rocks. I just decided, like, I went into a cave to climb the cave, and it was all wet. And I'm like, I'm just gonna climb the outside of this mountain. So I just kept climbing, and I'm like, I got all the way up, and I basically went around everything to get to the top of that mountain to start the quest. But it was impressive with that. I was like, yeah, I like the stamina. I forgot how much I loved stamina from the first game.
Yep.
You don't realize it. Like, you think, oh, I got to get hearts. But when you have the extra stamina, everything's just so much better. And especially in this game with the gliding traversal, like, it just helps out so much. Because if you, like, screw up, it's like, oh, I got this little extra bit to make it through. So I'm enjoying... I'm actually enjoying the shrines because I don't think I'm solving them a lot of the ways I'm supposed to. I never, I should go back.
There is no supposed to in this game, it seems.
Just for example, that the water temple, there was a shrine all the way at the top of the mountain, not the one in the water, not in the
depth.
the depth, not in the one right in their city, but like the
one
one
that's
all the way at
over
the top of the
you,
mountain.
yeah.
There's like you can pop like through the blocks. You can go up and you use the ascend button to go through the block. Those green things. Well, I attached one to a metal bracket and I made it fall up against the wall, and then I ascended up, and then I glided across the gap.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's how you're supposed to do it, actually, but I actually got myself stuck because in that same shrine I had to restart it.
Oh.
I actually went back and I did that one because I went through and I glided all the way across the third section of that, and then I got across and I realized that there was this ball spot where you're supposed to drop a ball into, and I'm like, oh. Yeah. So I'm like, well, so I dropped off the cliff to make myself respawn, and I respawned on that side again. I'm like, oh, I gotta start this whole thing over again. Yeah. Yeah, and Churro, thanks for tuning in, and thanks for tuning in, Churro. Thanks for viewing. But yeah, you do go out of your way sometimes, because like you do go out of your way to solve things. That's what Churro just said. To not solve things properly, and I do find myself wondering if that's the way they want me to do this, and like, what if I could do it this way? I do see that a lot.
It is funny because like there have been times with some of the shrines where I'm like, something happens and I'm like, it worked. It's like, oh, okay, that worked, and I'm like running over and I'm like, no. This didn't feel satisfying enough, and I'm like, I want to solve this the intended path or whatever like that. So I drop down. I'm like, I swear to God, I'm gonna figure this out, and then I like look at it a little bit more, and it's like, oh, I'm so dumb. Like I'm so dumb. Like I totally missed this thing, and this is like, what the heck? Like there's this one that you have to hit this ball into like it's sort of like baseball or like pinball, where like they want you to hit like a target like in the corner, and the intended thing is like you're supposed to like build a basically a flipper or a baseball bat mechanic so that when you hit this thing, it just like goes and like shoots the ball at the thing. Well, the one time I was just like, I wonder if this is going to work, and I just took out an arrow and attached a bomb to it and just shot the target, and they're like, do, and it's like, I'm like, oh, that worked. I was like, but that didn't feel satisfying. Like I didn't get the sense of reward from that.
I feel like that's more satisfying because you're like, I broke it because that's not what they wanted me to do, and I did it.
Yeah.
So I mean, like me wedging that metal bracket today because I realized I can climb up that, but I couldn't climb the wall. So I was like, okay, I can get my height and just glide across. I have no idea what they're trying to make me do here. So I'm like, I'm just gonna fuse it to the metal bracket, make it fall like that into the wall, and then make it so it's close enough. Because the first time I did it, I got across the gap and I couldn't pull that across the gap with me. It wasn't close enough. So then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make it right up against the edge so that when I get across, I can get on this platform and pull it across with me and do it again for the second part. So that's how I got across. I have no idea that that's actually how I was supposed to do it, but there was a lava temple that I am fairly certain I may have done it like completely, like probably a long way. I just kept freezing, like not water, making lava water platforms and
Yeah.
making a bridge
I
essentially.
feel like every one of these, if you ask any, streamer player, they're gonna have a different like resolution for it, and they're gonna be like, oh, well, this wasn't the way it was supposed to be. Like, I don't necessarily think there is a supposed to be a way to do it. It's like, here's an option, have fun and just play around in the sandbox.
Yeah, but no, that's the beauty of the, and the so
I
just
think he was talking about like Churro chimed in saying, I think to the arrow, I'm assuming, arrow bomb.
oh yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting. I gotta see that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's that's the fun part about this game, and it was the fun part about the last game because there was a lot like in Breath of the Wild. There's a lot of times where I like fell in the temples and like I just hit the right platform and I'm like, oh, I'm here, and it's like I made it. Okay.
Ta-da.
Yeah. Ducked the landing and I got it. But but that's when you realize the game is built like a sandbox, and it's so cool to have that feature. And then like just the world experience too, because the game will just screw you at the worst times with the rain, especially the rain. Fuck the rain. Especially the rain.
Oh yeah. So I've been playing Zelda 2. That's what I've been up to, and I have to say, like, the attention to detail for the smallest things, and this blew my mind. If you talk to NPCs at different times of the day, they have different dialogues. Like they'll say different things, right? Or even if it's weather, like if it's raining out, they'll be like, "Oh man, the weather's really bad today," and then they'll go into like talk about like whatever they're supposed to talk about, whether it's like, "Oh, I really like my horse" or whatever. And it seems like such a small thing, but it just makes the world feel so much more alive and organic rather than just like, oh, it's a thunderstorm. You're talking to me in the thunderstorm, but I'm not going to acknowledge it. Where if you talk to an NPC in this game, it's like, oh my god, like that the thunder's so loud and whatnot, and they're like kind of shivering and scared, and it's like, okay. But also the things that people are doing, and it was inevitable, but like the things people are doing in this game are just crazy, are just absolutely ridiculous. And every day I'm like checking Twitter, I'm checking Reddit just to see like what somebody posted, and it's just crazy. So like, for example, Jim, like one thing that I urge you to do, you take your shield, you take a cart, right? It's like a Zonai device where it's just like literally like kind of like a skateboard where it has like 4 wheels instead of 2. You attach this to your shield, and now when you shield surf, you're just skateboarding. Like Link is straight up just skateboarding, and it's just like,
I gotta do that.
Like
I heard about that. I just haven't done it yet.
This is mind blowing. I'm like, holy shit! Like we're Tony Hawk now. I'm grinding these rails and stuff, and it's just
See, it's like one of those things where it's like, yeah, you could just hit this button, but we're just gonna build this elaborate Rube Goldberg machine and just like let it play out and see how it goes. Because
I saw this one video today where a person straight up bullied this like one of the toughest regular enemies in the game. They like froze him, and then they took out Zonai pieces where you could just summon interactable Lego objects, basically. Put him in a box and just like flung the box like into the air and like, let go, and then he took all this fall damage and stuff like that. I'm just like, wow, you just straight up bullied this. He had no chance. Like he just like, oh, I'm gonna freeze you and then encase you in this box and then I'm gonna fling you up and then rewind time and all this stuff. It's just crazy. But I did wind up beating it unintentionally, actually. So I had what I thought was that the final quest was like, okay, you need to go here and do this, the thing. And I was like, okay, well, I won't go there then. I just want to explore this other area that I had like a kind of like an inkling to. I was like, oh, I wonder what's over here. And then I was over here and like I was like, oh, okay, this is a really cool area. And then like stuff started happening. I was like, oh, what's going on? Because like special things started happening. I was like, is this the real secret area? Like, is this the actual final area? And I just kept going. It was like, yup, I'm in the final area. That's the final boss. I was like, okay, well, I'm not gonna run away or anything like that. And so I did beat the game, and it is coming. I want to say I'm still in the honeymoon period, but I can absolutely see like this just topping Breath of the Wild in every manner so far, just because like the ending sequence just like was so over the top, and it just
I loved the ending sequence of the first game.
I know, I did too, but like this one, I'm just like, I don't want to build it too much, but I was just like, I was just like clapping. I was just like, there you go.
I think I was doing that in the first game.
Yeah.
So
I know,
fighting,
dude. And that's what I'm talking. Exactly like on the movie cast with Spider-Man. It's like, how could a sequel possibly top this? And it's like okay, we're topping ourselves.
Yeah.
It's like we made one of the greatest anime movies of all time. We're gonna do it again. It's like, okay, sure. Like, watch us do it again.
Now, did anybody get to try Street Fighter 6?
I did not.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I did not try the new control scheme, and I think I'm going to try it. But like, it's Street Fighter. It looks amazing. It's a lot of fun. I actually love what they've done with like the hub idea, where you can like kind of go around, and it's like you're in a convention almost. You can watch people play. You can watch tournaments. You can go over to the old machines and play Street Fighter 2, which was awesome. And the game is so interactively. They've added that feature, which Street Fighter hasn't had in years anyways, like that kind of interactivity, like in terms of like a single player or anything like that. But it's just been a fighting game. To have that, and it's still a fighting game, but to have that little bit of it so far, it was great. I will say that I did not enjoy the connection setup. Like basically it was disk install 16 gigs. It installed. I went to play the game. It's like, oh, you have to update the game 32 gigs. Downloaded that. And then it's like, then for some reason I had to reinstall from the CD again. And
you got this on Xbox, right?
Yeah. Then I had to reinstall, and then I loaded into the game, and it was like sitting on connecting for a while, and then it's like, oh, you need to update the game, and I was like, I did already, and then it's like, just restart the game to update. I'm like, why didn't this do this already? So I did that again, and then it was fine, and that's when I connected. But it's like I wasted like 15 minutes just trying to get into the freaking game when I only had like a small window that night.
Jim.
I had like a 30-minute window to play the game right there, and I was like,
sounds like you need to join the PC Master race, buddy.
Yeah.
It's amazing because that is the exact complaint you have about PC, isn't it not?
That is literally the exact complaint.
And that's what I've been saying. These are PCs these days.
Well, exactly. No, and that's the worst is that you have these discs and it only has like a fraction of what the game actually is.
Like, there's no reason to not ship the game with most of that patch. Like 32 gig download when you first. I mean, come on. There's no reason for that day one. Seriously?
Well, I'm just saying that when you're on PC now, you're just getting it all at once anyway. So
true.
You're getting it right away. Here you have to install the disc part. Then it's like, oh wait, you only have this. Now you gotta get that. And so it's becoming worse than PC.
Yeah, I will give more impressions next week when I can play that a little more.
Yeah, it was one of my most anticipated, and I did blitz Xenoblade to try to get ready for Street Fighter 6. So I was like, I have to finish Xenoblade before Friday for Xenoblade 6.
Did you beat it then?
I thought you.
Did you beat
it? So I have beaten Xenoblade 3. Yes, it was. So I got to the final area at level 62.
Whoa, that sounds a little low, buddy. I don't. Maybe I'm wrong, but that sounds low.
No, it's like I was like, am I supposed to be here at this level? I'm like, we'll see. But by the time I got to the final boss, I was 73. I was like, what
the game catches you up.
Yeah. Well, for one, I was like, I need to find every single enemy because like I don't know, like I feel like I'm like a little low. So I'm like, I'm just gonna make sure before I get to like the final boss, I'm gonna hit every enemy. And
you were like a wrecking crew.
Hold on, you knew about leveling up at the camp, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, just making sure because like if you didn't do that, I could totally like.
No, that's the thing. I was like,
gym move.
I was getting like 2 levels each time I was doing that. So I was like, dang, like what is like. Why do we have this bonus XP in the first place? Just let me level up naturally. It's so weird. Yeah. So I got through that, and the Y fight was really easy, but the Z fight, holy shit, man! Oh my god,
dude, I wiped a couple times on that one. I was like, fuck.
That is a bitch. I was like, what the hell? And then like first off, they take away all your powers, and you're like, what? And then they split you up, and you're like, what? But then they give you some help and you get some heroes. Do you know if like you get all the heroes that you've unlocked, or
all the heroes that you've unlocked will show up in that last seat? Right? It's like totally like a Avengers Endgame, like on your left kind of thing. It's such a good moment too, right? It's just like, oh shit, like okay, like because like usually you only get one of those, and now it's like, oh shit, you have your whole crew.
So it was definitely a lot of fun, but that was a tough boss fight because there's multiple stages.
Yeah, and if you wipe, you start from the beginning.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
it definitely, and because it's a long, it's long.
It's
It's
long.
not,
It's a
it's
long
not
fight. Yeah.
short. So,
Yeah.
I actually did just drop it down to easy to get through
No,
that
that's
boss
fine. Hey,
fight.
man, it's
So,
fine. It is fine.
I was
Like,
like, I need to get through this.
yeah.
So, any case, but then the ending ends like, dang, I didn't realize how like many feels are in this ending, and
You understand now. You understand what I'm saying. Like last year, I was like, look, if you had to be like, what is the better overall game for most people? I'd be like, yep, Elden Ring. But for me
Mhm.
personally, Xenoblade just like hit me all over
Yeah,
the feels. Like this
Yeah.
is a
it's
culmination
like,
of over a decade of just like,
mhm.
oh man,
And
oh man,
seeing certain characters, again.
yeah,
And just like from and
yeah,
the Xenoblade stories are kind of like Final Fantasy. Like we talked about this with 2 and 1. It's like, oh, they're separate stories and anything, but then you find out there is a connection somewhat with 2 and 1, and then there's connections here with those games as well. And it's a lot more than I thought there was going to be. Like
yeah,
way more direct
yeah.
connections
And you
than
haven't
I
even played the
expected.
DLC, dude. You still have to play the
Yeah.
DLC at some point, and it's
Yeah.
just like, it's so good. Like I just,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
Hmm.
it's one of my favorite RPG like series now, and it's
Yeah.
absolutely like a trilogy. If it ends at this trilogy, like I'm fine with it. Like it's perfect. Like I can't think of another gaming trilogy where it's like, okay,
Mm.
every game has like been better and
Upped,
better and
yeah, up the
lived
ante
up
on
to the
those. Mhm.
expectations. Yeah, exactly.
And I
So
have to say, I like the cast, the voice cast, the European voice cast they
yeah,
had.
they were
Like, I guess
great.
some of them were Australian, maybe, like with Gondor and
Yeah,
Monica.
they're yeah.
They sound a little Australian, but like I thought they did really well. And like you had mentioned, some of them are first time voice actors, and
Yeah,
they're great.
almost
Like
yeah.
because in 2 they were like some of them were a little
Yeah.
annoying,
Yeah, for sure.
but here they were all fantastic,
Yeah.
and you do really start to care for these characters, and you want them to succeed. And then the way that it ends, it's like, wow, like you're really gonna do this, huh? You're really gonna do this to us?
Mhm.
And just like the moment, because like there's a moment you've been like you knew it was coming the whole entire game, and then it finally happens, like, oh, okay, and then there's like, wait, what? And then it's just like
Yep.
you're like, what is happening? No.
Yeah, yep.
So it was, that was like really quite emotional, but yeah. So I got through that, and I was like, all right, cool. Looks like Diablo 4's got early access, and it's coming out before
Street
Street
Fighter.
Fighter
Yeah.
I
6.
had to ask. Like, I knew you picked up Diablo 4. I was
So
like,
I
okay.
pre-ordered, like, well, I've got early access to Diablo 4. I'll dip my toe in while I wait for Street Fighter, and I'm hooked. And you knew it was gonna happen. I am completely obsessed with this game now. Diablo 4 is like a great, like, where Diablo 3 end is at now. Diablo 4 has surpassed it, like from the get-go. Like it is a better game
Again,
already
like
than what
they've
Diablo
done it
3
with a
is.
sequel. They've done it with a
Mhm.
sequel. Because the Diablo
Yeah, and well, I
3,
mean, because like Diablo 3 came out, and we
it
all
was
know the
bad.
auction
Yeah,
house was
it was bad.
terrible.
It was bad. But they
It was not
Ultimate Edition
fun.
was excellent. Yeah.
Well, right, and then once Reaper Souls and they
Yeah.
fixed and they did Loot 2.0, whatever it was called, they fixed it all. They learned their lessons here, and they're giving you a game that is feature rich, has more content currently than Diablo 3, I think. And this is the base game, and there are 2 expansions already in the works for this game, so we know there's more coming.
Yeah.
And the story is actually really interesting because it's not linear. It's the first 3 acts can be done in any order, and so it's interesting how you want to approach that.
Yeah.
I think most people will go with 1, 2, 3, but you do not have to do that,
Yeah.
which is neat.
Yeah.
And it's an open world where it's just it's a static world, I should say, not necessarily open, but it's a static world where you're exploring it and everything is in certain spots. So it's not procedural where the previous games, a lot of it was procedural. You go to a zone, it was building that zone as you go. So like they might have like a dungeon here, but it might not always be in the same spot or something. Here, everything is explorable and then will be there for you. But then when you go into certain spaces, they may be a little different, like dungeons and stuff. But as far as that goes, it's interesting that they do that because now everything scales with your level. So you're
Mm.
not going to zone 1 and everything's level 2 to like 10 or
Right.
whatever, and then you're going out to be level 50 and coming back and everything's level 10. You're like, this is pointless to ever come back here. Everything has to scale with you now, and so that makes it a little more interesting.
Mm.
It is a sacrifice to like, oh, I want to feel overpowered and go somewhere and just like kill trash mobs, whatever. But here, you're getting so much stuff, and gear is constantly getting replenished, and the builds you can come up with are really like making you feel powerful, even though you are in like same level zones. You never are overpowered. You can drop like the difficulty down. Like there's tier 1, tier 2 to start with, and so you can go to tier 1 and just like trash through everything, just like drop everything like crazy and just delete it off the screen, and that's always fun. Uh, and then if you want a little more challenge, you can up it to 2 early on, and once you get to like level 50, at that point you should be going to tier 3. But like I've not even finished Act 3 yet, or started Act 3 yet, and I'm level 47 right now,
Oh
so
wow,
it's like
nice.
it's just been so much fun exploring the world. And because it's this open world, it's static, you have now like this, Lost Ark aspect where it's random people will pop in the games. You'll be on servers with, I think it's 12 max, I think, on servers. So like
Mm.
it's not like you're gonna have super condensed areas
Hundreds of
like
people. Yeah.
right, because you don't want to be feel like you're,
One of a
waiting in line
million,
for
or
something.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly. But like it was neat because they have world bosses. They have events that'll happen, like world events that'll happen, and so you'll start meeting people because they
Mm.
all kind of come together to do that. And so the world bosses are fun. So they have neat mechanics that you got to learn. You got to try to accomplish. There's like levels to it. So it's like, can you do it in this amount of time? Can you accomplish all these goals before you get to the boss? That type of stuff to get better rewards and things. And that loot grind, that loot loop that they do is it's just so good.
You love it.
Uh, it's me, me. So it's like that's my jam. So it's been awesome, and getting to play it with people has been a lot of fun, and just meeting random people and playing has been interesting. So I'm and it's not, it just came out today while we were recording. Like today was actually the launch day,
Launch,
so
yeah,
like a
official
lot more
launch day.
people have been flooding the servers. But even with the early access and where this game is at, like I'm blown away by how polished it is so far and
That's
how
not good.
smooth
Yeah.
it's
It's like
been. Like
super
considering
smooth
what
launch. Like super
Diablo,
smooth launch. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh yeah,
and
Diablo 3
considering
was one of the
Diablo 3
worst
was
launches in history, right? Error
yeah,
Offline.
37
Yeah.
or whatever it was. I mean, it's a joke.
yeah. I
So
mean, I feel like everything they did led up to this point where it's like we cannot have another
oh no,
situation like
absolutely.
that.
If Diablo 4 did a Diablo 3 launch, I think that would help kill that franchise.
Oh
Absolutely.
yeah, not just their franchise. That could have killed Blizzard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because this game essentially is turning like around everything for
I
them.
hate
Like
it. On one level, I hate
it's
it. I on one level, I
fastest
hate it.
selling. It's
Yeah, they
the
just announced
you know
fastest selling Blizzard title, whatever that means. So
yeah.
good
I
for
mean,
them.
it's always
Yeah.
going to be based off of some metric that makes it so they can say that. But it's been fantastic and
Good. Yeah.
well
Yeah.
deserved. And yeah,
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
been so much fun.
it's just I want to see changed Blizzard before I support it, but I'm glad that
Hmm.
whenever that does happen, we're gonna have a good game. Because
Yeah,
I mean,
no,
at the end
it's
of the day,
such a
I want good games, and I want the developers to
hmm
be rewarded for that. Just like the
right.
Well, so, I mean,
leadership,
that's they worked their butt off
yeah,
through the crap, and they built
especially
this
through the
game from.
pandemic too. Like, I mean, give
Mhm.
them
Yeah.
credit. Don't
Well,
fucking
crap. I'm not saying
don't.
just like the harassment stuff. The
Oh no,
crap,
yeah,
the
no,
pandemic.
yeah. I mean, like you have fucking what's his name trying to pull employees back to the fucking office. It's like
Oh yeah, yeah.
they did all of they did one WoW expansion, they did Overwatch stuff, whatever, which hit or miss, and then they did
Hmm.
Diablo 4, all of it working from home. Why are you forcing
Remotely.
them to make these
Yeah.
fucking hard ass decisions? Like, it's Mikey Barr and fucking Bobby Kotick.
Yeah.
Go fuck yourselves.
Yeah.
But
So
yeah, Rod Ferguson, I think, is in like one of the game leads for this, and he's the Gears. He's like been known for years. He worked
Yeah.
on Gears of War for like 15 years, and it was at Epic. And one of the most famous things that he was known for is that he wanted to cancel Fortnite before it became what it is today.
Yeah, I heard about that.
But yeah, I think that having him being at the lead with his experience has been a
Hmm.
big boon to this
the
franchise.
right management, right?
Yeah. Well, that's it. So
Uh,
yeah, and you can play it on Steam Deck, which is pretty
That's what
I was
gonna
about to
ask
ask
you.
you
How's
how the
how's it
experience
run?
was on that.
it runs well. It runs awesome. It's like
That's good.
basically if you play Diablo 3 on Switch, it's essentially that. Like it's just the same. It's a little jarring going from mouse keyboard to like controller, but I have to say like what they've done to the controls, like they've learned with Diablo 3 because like when they turned Diablo 3 into a console game, they had to figure out how to work it with a
Use the
controller,
buttons. Yeah.
and using that, like having that come forward here and just learning from that has like made the
Yeah.
mouse keyboard experience better, and has made the controller experience amazing. Like it feels really good on controller. Like I'm super impressed
I
with
always
it.
liked it with a PlayStation. We were playing on
Hmm.
PlayStation 3.
Like
PlayStation
yeah,
3.
no,
Yeah.
I don't think you lose anything
Good.
going from a mouse keyboard to controller. Like I was so impressed with how they did it, and like I could see, depending on how you want to run your build, like controller maybe even be easier just
Yeah.
because of, you can run it a certain way. Because like yeah, mouse keyboard, you got to know where keys are, and like I had to remap everything because they basically use your skills in 1, 2, 3, 4. I was like, what? This is weird. Like I don't like my hands that far up.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's awesome. Yeah, super impressed. So I'm glad
Awesome.
it's doing well, and that
Yeah.
the people that put all the hard work are getting rewarded, not necessarily the suits that
higher
are.
ups.
Oh, come
making
on.
it.
The suits are gonna get their bonuses and stuff at the end of
I
the
Oh,
year.
know. I
sure.
mean, if they are. I'm upset about that,
Yeah, yeah,
of
yeah. No,
course.
I
But
get
at the
it. I
same
get it.
time, the
Even the
people,
staff
you
are
know,
gonna get their bonuses too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Not as
And it's,
nearly
I
as
mean,
impressive,
I
but
mean,
yeah,
both like this and Street Fighter like coming out the same weekend and scoring so well. It's
Mhm.
like,
yeah. I
and we
mean,
talked about last week,
back-to-back
like the
launches.
amount of high quality games that have come out so far this year already
Yeah, I mean,
with
yeah, come on.
Zelda, with
Yeah.
This
uh,
is the year of like like strong. Like it's just can't miss like these titles that you
I mean,
expect. Like
you were saying Game of the Year was Harry Potter when you were playing
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Hogwarts Legacy is still a fantastic game. Like oh my
Yeah.
god, like it is. I mean, I just don't know how Tears of the Kingdom. It's not going to lose to that, but I mean, Hogwarts Legacy is fantastic, and
Mhm.
it will 100% be talked about in Game of the Year without a doubt. I'll
Mhm.
still talk about it,
Yeah.
but I just don't see it winning. It's just,
It's so
but
funny. I
like,
just looked over at my battle.net. Everybody's
Yeah.
in
You can
Diablo
see
saw it,
everybody.
yeah.
Yeah.
so I'll probably try it on my Steam Deck then for this. I might get it on
Oh,
there.
it's
But,
so good on there. It's really, really good.
Yeah.
There
well,
is a
and then,
little bit of a workaround because you have to get battle.net installed on
yeah,
there, and
yeah,
it's not like as simple as, just downloading a Steam game, but they make it so like it's so easy to just sideload, not the sideload things because it's a PC, but they make it easy to install other launchers, and then you can set it up so you're just hitting like the Diablo 4 button and you're getting right into
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
I'll watch the workaround. So
But yeah,
cool.
this year, I mean, to me, I feel like this is the redemption year for like the gaming industry overall. Not to say every company was doing bad stuff, but like just it's easy to take a look at the last 2, 3, 4 years, and like you just look at all the big misses. Cyberpunk, um, you know, Golem, obviously more recently and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Redfall, but like, and that's this year, so that takes
Mhm.
away from it. But like all these other companies, they've been working. They've been in the kitchen. They've been prepping all these things for us. We finally get to eat, and it's been worth the wait. Like I mean,
And it's was cool at the same time, but also unfortunate is that these games are all sequels that have been like really good, except like Hogwarts, I guess. But like at least they're learning from what they've done, and
Mhm.
like another sequel, Spider-Man, I'm sure is gonna be awesome. We'll talk about that
Yeah.
later as well. But like it's cool that we're seeing the renaissance of Street Fighter and Diablo
Final Fantasy,
and
hopefully.
yeah, Final Fantasy, yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, oh, cool. Very exciting.
All right. A little
And
bit
Final
of
Fantasy
news.
7 Rebirth is supposed to be this year too. Which
Yeah,
is good.
supposedly, yeah, which is exciting.
Let's see.
Summer Game Fest this week too, so we will have news
That's
by next
true.
week. I'm
And there's
very
a Capcom,
Capcom Showcase. Yep, on Monday. Yeah,
Is it
Yeah.
Monday already?
Yeah,
I think so.
exactly. Yeah, less than a week.
Wow.
I need to will Mega Man X into existence, a new one.
Dino Crisis, right?
I would like a Dino Crisis. Yeah, let's do it. I think Mega Man X would be awesome to get to. So we'll see.
Yeah, they've shat on him for so long, and maybe
Talking about going back to
what?
Street
The
Fighter.
Renaissance.
Street Fighter 6 has smashed the all-time concurrent players of any fighting game on Steam.
Paid fighting games. Yep.
Yeah, any MK actually all combined. Oh, close to all combined. But MK11 was number one with 35,000 concurrent. Now it's 64,000 plus for Street Fighter 6. Almost like between MK11, Tekken 7, Mortal Kombat 10, and Street Fighter 5. 64,000 is almost
I mean, it
double.
hit
What,
70 at one point.
Yeah.
yeah, it was
After
almost
this.
almost double what MK11 did.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's fantastic.
Well
Like,
deserved,
I love
yeah.
to see that because in my mind, Street Fighter V was one of the biggest misses of the last generation. I don't think I talked about it that much, but to me, how much I love Street Fighter 4 and how that meant to all because we played that so much when it came out.
That game brought fighting games back.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, absolutely. And then
that was
5 was
almost
just
a
such
dead genre.
It was such a huge miss. Like Capcom just messed up every aspect it did. And I think it being
Beholden to Sony and their money.
yeah, beholden to Sony and stuff like that, and but they learned their mistake and they're like, no, everybody gets it and crossplay. Like it just that's the thing.
that's it.
You want to play your games with your friends. Don't let it be set to
When you
arbitrary
log into the
bullshit.
game,
Yeah.
it tells you it's crossplay,
Yeah.
like right off the bat.
Oh, that's
which
awesome.
is awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah.
That is right in the game. I was like, when I logged in, I was like, that's awesome. I can't wait because I can play with you guys no matter what we got.
And that's all like Diablo too is like cross play, cross progression. So
Yeah.
like wherever you play, like that's how you get people to play your games.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, and they even said, like, I forgot to mention this too. Like, he even said, like, they mentioned the fact that you can play this game with a fight stick or a controller, and that certain setups will work better with control. They tell you this right in the beginning. It's really cool how they went through that to let you know, like, if you're worried about balance, essentially, that
I mean,
there's
that's why they have the
yeah,
modern control set and
they
the
basically set it
easy
up
mode or
in
whatever
the
they
beginning of
call
the
it. It's
game.
not easy
Yeah,
mode. It's just a different way to play the game.
Yep.
yeah. So, all right, let's talk about Redfall. Jason Schreier posted a
Oh.
tweet. We had a tweet. He posted an article basically
Oh,
about
that's
the
good.
Arkane Studios.
And now,
Well, I have two negative things. I mean, how do I follow up? We should have just started with these two. We have Firaxis laying off 30 people. You know,
Firaxis. Yeah.
They're the developers
Firaxis.
for
Did I say
XCOM
Firaxis?
and
I'm
the
sorry,
Midnight
Firaxis.
I
Marvel's
thought you said
Midnight Suns.
Fire Axis.
I think
like,
I did say Firaxis. I meant Firaxis. Jesus. Midnight Suns team, owned by Take-Two, is laying off at least 30 people. That's not confirmed yet as to what that's happening there. But then you also have the Redfall fiasco, which, by the way, is still a horrible game and never will be a good game. Where the studio went through like unclear direction, understaffed team. They didn't actually want to work on it. I don't even understand how this worked. How did this game get made?
Vanity.
Well, especially when Microsoft's canceling things left and right. It's like, what is happening?
Get
here?
it? Like
I want-
every
yeah.
aspect of this screams this game was the Scalebound is a perfect example of like
not even scalebound. It's
no,
just
but if
like,
they didn't like what they saw with that game,
how many games have they announced that like Fable?
You
they
know,
talked about. Oh, we're gonna do Fable, and it's like these are first party games.
Yeah. Well, I agree with you, and I think it's weird because like I think Microsoft and Phil Spencer was like, hey, we just bought, what's the parent company's name?
Spent $4 billion, whatever.
Yeah.
How much did they spend? Like,
What's the fucking parent company's name?
it's
ZeniMax.
ZeniMax. Thank you. We just bought ZeniMax. We bought it for Starfield, but oh, hey, they've been working like this team that has been delivering great cult hits, but maybe not necessarily critical hits, is in the middle of this fucking Redfall game. Okay, well, you know what? Let's help them out. Let's make you cancel the PS5 version, which that was the first thing of order that they did. Bring more games to gamers. Bullshit. But then they're like, okay, well, we'll help you promote this, and maybe we can make it
I think that would help too, a singular focus. But
no, and I want to say that I feel like Microsoft went too far in the other direction, where it's like maybe they were too controlling or too oversight or whatever you want to call it, and they're just like, oh yeah, whatever, you guys are on your own, just fucking finish the game, let us know when it's done, and we'll market it and stuff like that. Where it's like you have to have a balance, right? You can't be breathing over their shoulder onto their neck and stuff like that.
There's too much hands off and there's too much hands on.
Yeah, exactly.
And at this point in your career as a Microsoft studio, gaming studio, you have to know that balance at this point. It's stupid you don't.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
It is, and it's just a sad thing because like I honestly think if Phil had just played that game, before they officially announced it, right, and been like, I don't think you guys can turn this game around, and they could cancel it quietly. But if when they announced the game, that's it. They were like, I'm pretty sure they're like, we have to commit to this. We cannot cancel another game that we showed off because people just fly off the handle. And it's unfortunate because like after playing this game, I firmly believe that this game should have just been canceled. Like absolutely 100%. This game sucks. Like worst game of the year. But it's not necessarily the biggest disappointment because I had no expectation. I had no expectation. But worst game I played this year.
The only thing that Microsoft can take out of this now is they get some leeway when they cancel games again.
Yeah.
Rather than just we were always on them about canceling
sad.
stuff.
It's so sad.
But now you're like, you give them a little credit now. They cancel something. You're like,
guys. It was looking like Redfall. It was playing like Redfall.
That's what I have to say from now on.
Redfall had to fail so that Microsoft
can cancel more games. Yes.
Sent to die.
So we'll see what Microsoft has for us next week on the Starfield thing too. But yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. I think that it's interesting to see where this goes. And I did read that Final Fantasy pre-orders are lagging behind too. This is another game that exclusivity is it might hurt it as well. The lack of PC is going to hurt that big time.
Absolutely, I think the lack of PC hurts, and
forget the Xbox side, but the lack of PC.
It's so interesting because like you have a developer like Capcom, and we talked about it last week. I'm pretty sure where like Capcom has done a complete 180 because I used to be the advocate. I was holding up that flag, fuck Capcom, for years.
Episodes about it. I think we said it for like 12 episodes straight.
Yeah,
fuck Capcom. Yeah.
And over the years,
podcast.
And over the years, they were just like, you know what? Okay, we hear you. We're gonna change. We're gonna do better. They did better with Street Fighter. They did better with Monster Hunter. They did better with Resident Evil. They even did better with Mega Man, Ace Attorney. All these franchises, like shit. Okay, like Devil May Cry. Like, you know, remember the Devil May or the DMC fiasco
Yeah.
where it's like, what the fuck
Yeah.
are you guys doing? And they're like, okay, we're really sorry, guys. Here's Devil May Cry 5, which was, you know, critically and commercially successful and stuff like that.
Fantastic. Yeah.
And part of that is Capcom embraced the PC community. They stopped treating them like secondhand citizens. Like, all right, you guys are gonna get all these games like day one or close to day one and stuff like that. Multi-platform launch, cross-play, stuff like that. And you have Square Enix, and it's just like, dude, why? Why are you still making these fucking games exclusive? And I get it. Sony is giving you money bags, right? Because they want this brand to be associated with PlayStation. But here's the thing, like, yeah, you're getting short-term return on investment, like guaranteed money, I guess, and stuff like that. But you're not growing your brand that way, right? Because I have all these people I play Final Fantasy 14 with, 0 of them own a PlayStation 5. And they all are saying, if this was coming out on PC, I would buy this game. I'd buy this game because he's the guy that worked on 14.
It's just going to be like way after,
Yeah, I would buy this because it's a guy that did 14. I love 14. I would love to play this game, but it's not on PS5, and I can't justify a $500 console purchase for one game.
That's it. I don't have a PS5 myself. I'm not playing. I want to play this game, but I'm not going to play it.
And
I might get a PS5 this year, but right now I'm not playing this game, and it sucks because I really want to play it. But
it's a shame because I think the game looks excellent. I think the game looks amazing, but I think it's a combination of the lack of the PC and even the Xbox version, because the Final Fantasy 15 launched on Xbox, and I think it wound up selling about 2 million copies, which is smaller compared to, I think, the 8 or 9 that did on PS4. But still, you can't sneeze at 2 million units. You know, you just can't do that. So to be like, yeah, we're gonna say fuck you to 2 million, you know, Xbox users that would have bought this game. You just can't do that. You know, so it's really a shame. I really hope Square Enix learns after this, because like the short-term gains is not worth the lack of growth on your thing. And again, I'll point to every Capcom game. Every Capcom franchise has seen growth. And Final Fantasy was a premier brand, a brand name.
They did it with Tomb Raider, though.
Yeah.
They did it with Tomb Raider.
Yeah,
That cost them.
I know.
We talked about this.
I get it. Square Enix...
They're not learning. They're not learning.
Square Enix is like... They succeed despite their leadership. And it's so sad. It's so fucking sad, because like the new president is like is doubling down all into like NFTs and shit like that. I'm just like, you're so fucking stupid. Like, you are so fucking stupid, and it's unfortunate that actually Final Fantasy 14 bailed you guys out so hard, like out of like 8 of the last 10 years and stuff like that, because like you guys are just like, oh, we'll make all these mistakes. And not to say Square Enix hasn't done great things. I loved a lot of things Square Enix has done, especially in the past few years.
15 was incredible.
Yeah, but it's just like, for every good decision they do, they make at least one bad one. So I really hope, you know, they embrace it, because like just to be like, we're only going to be a PS5, and it's like, okay, there's like what, 30, 40 million, you know, PS5.
I mean, there's a lot,
and that's great, but like,
you're still costing yourself sales.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you're not going to convert all those 30 to 40 million
no
to this game.
No.
So you're still costing yourself sales.
Yeah.
And like, I know that they're lagging behind on pre-orders. I saw that they were concerned about that.
And that's fine, but you know, the other thing about pre-orders is like, you know, to be devil's advocate and argue on the other side of things.
Sure,
like, I think there's a lot of people that like have gotten burned on pre-orders, Cyberpunk, you know, exactly, where I think people are more willing now to wait for reviews and stuff like that, and just get that, you know, hey man, I heard you got fun, how is it? And like the water cooler type effect, where it's like, is this good? Like, you know, and if people are posting about it,
like Diablo 4, it's very scary beforehand.
Yep.
It's like, well,
there's also no guarantee you're getting the game if you pre-order it. Like, I can't even tell you now at this point how many times I've had pre-orders canceled.
Right. Well, I mean, also like digital. Like, you don't need a pre-order. I can just buy digitally. Like, there's no point, you know?
Yeah. So, and that's true. You can just buy it day one digital.
So, you know, I get it. I'm not disputing the statement that it is probably lagging in pre-orders, but like at the same time, you know, I personally am not worried. I don't think Square is too worried, but I want them to learn that lesson, that like, you can't forsake the amount of Xbox and PC users, and you know, hopefully the next Nintendo system is up to par where they can get like a downport, you know, where it's like just a resolution, something or other. Because like a game like Final Fantasy, it's popular, but it's not popular enough to be exclusive to one system. It's just, if you want to succeed, if you want to grow the brand, you can't do that anymore.
I just find that I get like not launching it on Xbox, but the PC is a weird omission. It really is.
It is. Yep.
That's really the big thing for me. When I was like,
well, they did say they're gonna work on it once they launch.
I'm sure they will, but like,
yeah,
you're still
so the interesting other thing, to tie this in really quick. I know we're running long on the Gamecast, but rumor mill right now is an Atlas leaker apparently is saying that internally at Atlas now they are going ahead with a multi-platform for their games. like initiative by Sega. There's like,
Good.
because like the thing is like I love Persona and like, but they how many years were like
They wasted.
they
so
wasted,
much time.
you know?
Yeah, the Switch conversation was insane. So
It was just insane. It's like that's a PS4 game. There's no reason it cannot run on the Switch.
Yeah.
Or PS3. It was it fucking released on PS3. Yeah. So I was like, you could definitely port this to Switch. So
yeah. So yeah, it's interesting. I'm glad to hear that. So that's good news. But all right, let's wrap up the Gamecast. We have a spoiler cast coming up. So
yep.
that's gonna do it here, guys. Once again, we're live on Twitch Tuesday night starting at 8 o'clock for the movie cast, Gamecast. We do spoiler cast, which coming up is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I almost said into Across the Spider-Verse. So stay tuned if you've seen that. If you miss any of these live streams, we're on YouTube the following day. So be sure to subscribe to both channels to get notified when we go live or post. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. We're done with the Gamecast. See you soon.
I will say the netcode is really good with Diablo 2 because
Oh,
like
that's
playing
good to
with people on PlayStation and PC, it was just seamless. So it's
Yeah.
awesome.
All right, let's get rolling. Here we go.
Oh gosh, I'm so excited.
Now recording.
All right.